Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me today in this special 2025 collective reading. I'm doing this in the style of a pick a card using a new method of recording. I'm not entirely sure how this is going to work, but this is how we're going to do it. And before we get started, this is a friendly reminder not to get scammed, and I only offer my sessions through my website. Through the month of January 2025, you can use the special promo code YouTube 2025 directly on my website, www.symphonic.alignment.com/YouTube. So remember, I do not message you for sessions or ask you to send me any money. You can book directly on my websites. So what you're going to do is focus in on the three cards that we have here. And I'm also using some Astro dice just to throw in some extra flavor if that appeals to you. So we are going to start with pile one here, and you can see the symbol for Libra. We have pile two with the number or house 11. And then we have pile three with the planet of Jupiter. So you can go ahead and relax your mind. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll hover over each of the cards to see if any of them feel more energetically strong than the others. And you can just do that over your computer screen or your phone, whatever feels right to you, or you can choose based on one of the Astro dice. Okay, pile one. Okay, pile one. So we have the Elder. Move beyond ancestral patterns. Interesting. We also have some images of it. Looks almost like cave drawings. Very indigenous feel. And this is going to be our overarching energy. And then with Libra. So I feel with Libra and the Elder coming in here, I'm feeling a lot of balance. So moving beyond these ancestral patterns is finding that balance between traditions and new innovations, balancing out the family patterns and ancestral patterns with the creation of new ones moving forward. And so, again, a lot of that harmony in both and kind of finding that balance between the old and the new. So, next we are going to pull some tarot, and I am feeling drawn to use this Lunisomnia tarot. Okay. Now let's start with the energy you're bringing in here. Ooh, Six of Swords. All right. That makes a lot of sense, and that's fine. I guess we're gonna just get started. Gotta roll up the sleeves. Ooh, look at that. Okay, this 2025 is gonna be a doozy. But don't worry, we're gonna clear this right up for you. All right, so we are starting with the Six of Swords. So this looks a little bit different than our Rider-Waite, but the nature or essence of the Six of Swords is leaving things behind, but not just anything, but painful things, things that are difficult. It's almost like there has been a decision that you may have been thinking about for a long time, or you've gone back and forth, or you've struggled, or it's felt more painful to leave it behind in the past. And now you're finally either deciding to proceed forward because you finally just made the decision, Or we see this Tower card, which we'll talk more about in a little bit. You may have been forced into this for some reason. So moving into 2025, we're actually going to see you moving away from what would appear to be things that are relating to your ancestral patterns. So, for example, um, let's just say you have a family business and it's almost like expected that everyone down that line is expected to like take over the business. And so it may be like a crossroads where you've known for a long time that that's not what you want to do. And so we're also bringing in this Two of Swords, which kind of brings in that indecision, not knowing and being stuck by indecision. And so it's like you've known all along that that's not the path that you want to go down, but you either didn't know how to say it, or you felt like you can never find the right time, or you felt like you were letting people down. And so you kind of just nod your head and just never exactly say, yes, that's what I'm going to do, but you're also never saying no. And so you may be at this crossroads where you're finally deciding, I know that I want to go down a different path, and now is the time where I'm going to speak this out. And so I'm almost seeing like this communication or this energy coming out. Also, the swords can be communication, our thoughts, and this can also be trapped within the crossroads, like this mental block that you have of just constantly going back and forth and not actually making that decision. Then we also have the Four of Swords. So it's almost like you kind of needed to go through some things. Again, I'm getting a lot of pain that is relating to this. And I feel like in the conclusion of 2024, it's almost like on one end, you may have finally taken some time to sit with and dream about the future and recognize that this path that you're on of so leading people on, so to speak, whether this is your family, your friends, your workplace, any type of situation that you might be in, it's like you're recognizing that this path of letting these people believe that you're on one path is going to rob you essentially of everything that you are dreaming of and that you want for yourself and for your life and for your future. And so on one end, this is almost like I'm getting both the restlessness, I think, because of like this Two of Swords and this feeling of like finding balance. It's like on one end, it's sleeplessness. And then on the other end, we're having more of like you're finally taking that break to be able to reflect on the things that have brought you a lot of pain or torment, even. And so. Yeah, you're kind of finally coming to those conclusions. And then last, we're coming to this Tower card. So this is going to be something very major in your life, and obviously something like ancestral patterns. This is not something minor. This is something that you may recognize in the people in your family. It can be going down the lines. Maybe you recognize this in, your parents or your guardians and in their parents and guardians, and kind of down the line, if you were to really again, sit with it and take some time, you might recognize that there are a lot of these patterns, and you're kind of going to fall into that same line unless you finally make the decision that you're going to choose another way or another route. So again, we have this Libra energy. Who is it really serving to go against what you know to be your future, right? Are you really helping anyone by leading them on to believe that you're going to go on a certain path when you have really no intention of doing so? Does it serve the people that may benefit from you going down the route that you feel called to? And so you're finding that balance and like what really is doing the so-called right or wrong thing, right? And so this tower, with it being in the upright, a lot of times this can signify something that's out of your control. Like, for example, there may be the business gets hit with some really hefty fines, or they have to pay back some loans because of, not doing so well. And, you're kind of put in this position where you're going to be taking all of that on. So it's almost like the universe or these forces are almost forcing you out of it. Or maybe there is an unexpected buyout that you're not anticipating or a merge within your company. And so it's a situation where you've kind of been going back and forth, and then the universe is kind of doing it for you because this merge is going to result in either shift changes or you're going to get more responsibilities, and maybe it's not worth, not really getting any pay increase for that. Maybe they're laying people off because of this merge. Or if it's like within your friend groups, maybe somebody moves away, or just something that's a little bit out of your control where it's like the universe is kind of doing it for you. But again, when the universe does it for you, it's typically not as smooth as it would have been otherwise. So with this Six of Swords energy, again, it's more like, instead of this easy transition, it's like this thing just is it just happens, and it's difficult and it's hard. There's a lot of grief around it, and it's tough. And there's going to be a little bit of a journey before things smooth out again. So I know this feels a little bit more on the heavier side of things. And some of my overall energy that I got, not necessarily for this pile, but just in general for the collective, I think that this really applies here as well. Attack, pain, fear, judgment, and any form of separation are merely calls for help. So in this particular reading, I feel like it is that falling out of line of what's always been done within your family or your workplace or your friend group. And this form of separation, experiencing any of these kind of, we perceive them as more negative emotions, they are calls for help, right? So, are you actually being attacked? Are you actually feeling pain, fear, judgment? Or are these things that you're perceiving maybe the outcome of you finally speaking your truth? And so it may come out, but it's all about how does this serve you and the others in the end, coming back to that Libra and finding that balance. What actually is for the highest good, right? You keeping things bottled up, other people being under false pretenses or false assumptions. And maybe they've even been kind of gently guided to believe a certain thing. But we also see these stars, just see this almost like it's opening up to the universe, right? So even though we may, as our human selves, perceive this as really negative, it could actually be the very thing that helps slot everything into place as it's meant to be. All right. And so let's pull some advice in dealing with these energies. Interesting. The Justice card, very Libra. And we got the Page of Cups followed by the Ace of Swords. So we got a lot of this sword energy. I feel like there has been a lot of thinking, maybe to the point of overthinking, especially due to the indecision and not really being clear on what's so-called right or wrong, and what is for the actual higher good of everybody involved. So we get this Justice in the reverse. So again, this is another major arcana, just like the Tower card. And these are going to be some major themes within your life. And so I feel like 2025 is really going to show you what is actually, so-called good or bad. With this Page of Cups, we're seeing this like new wisdom coming up. It's like you've been so much in this cerebral thinking energy that we're finally gonna start adding some of this emotion into it. You're gonna start digging into how you really feel about things. And this is gonna be very new. And this Ace of Swords in the reverse, also seeing this sword surrounded by this snake, it's like this shedding of this old skin that has just been needing to be shed. And what's underneath it are these new ideas, these new emotions, approaching things in a very different way. When we also bring in the numerology of 2025, we get a nine, and nine is like the things that are ending, right? So, how might we be ending this path that we were on, falling into these ancestral patterns that we are going to now move beyond? This is this can be the elders within whatever unit you're talking about, whether it be family or again the workplace, friend groups, whatever it may be. Or this can also be tapping into your own internal wisdom and tapping into that energy like an elder so that you then become the elder of this new path that you're paving. So again, these are things that are very, very new, and there's going to be a shift in perspective, and we're going to see these endings, just as we said with the Six of Swords. And so 2025 is really listen to that wisdom, that intuition, those thoughts that come up that you've never actually entertained before because the thinking mind told you that it wasn't relevant or it didn't matter, it wasn't going to get you anywhere or get you to any progress, right? But what were you protecting in terms of the emotions? Which emotions felt too difficult to approach, that it was easier to let people believe that you felt a certain way, believed a certain thing, or were going to go down a certain path when deep down you knew that that wasn't the right direction, that wasn't the path, and that wasn't what your intentions were to be. So, this truth is going to come out, and through these truths, you are going to find more clarity of who you are, what you want in life, what your feelings are, and how you feel about things. You're going to uncover these emotions that you were so used to. I'm feeling that Capricorn energy, even though Capricorn is an earth sign, it's also one of like this responsibility. So this underlying responsibility is now going to come to light. And as we're stepping into this age of Aquarius with Pluto shifting from Pluto to Aquarius, even though again, that's an air sign, it's one about community, but doing things in a different way. So how are you going to do things in a different way that you might find yourself within different company, different groups of people that you're more drawn to at this time? Where are you going to move forward, and who's going to come along with you, and who is going to be left behind with that Six of Swords, that old life that is no longer serving you or them? So, I'm going to end this with a Universe Has Your Back card. Again, this feels like a really, really heavy energy as you're stepping into 2025. And so I just want to remind you to have grace for yourself and the path that you're on. And even though in general, people are embracing this whole 2025, the new year. As many of you may know, the new year is really just something that is part of the Western calendar, but it is not necessarily our personal year, right? And so a lot of times you might hear things such as a solar return, which is around your birthday, and your birthday is what is starting that new year. So you may be in a different part of this new year journey, depending on, what calendars you follow. Lunar New Year's are towards the end of January or early February. So again, these things are all relative to what purpose it's serving, right? And so let me pull this Universe Has Your Back card first. So the universe has your back. So it's remembering that as difficult as things may be, you are still supported and you are going on a path that you are meant to go on. Everything happened as it was meant to, including the fact that the universe had to come on in and help you out a little bit. Then we have the presence of love will always cast out fear. So coming back to this card we have here, the presence of love. So this is very much so a feeling of remembering that self-love, remembering the love that you have for others, for your passions, for your future self, for your family, for your friends, whatever it is that this presence of love means to you in this moment on your particular journey, because remember, this is a collective reading. It will always cast out fear. Are you afraid of what is going to happen by going on your path? Or are you going to remember your journey and what brings you joy? And is that really a loss? Because when we are valuing ourselves and our journey and what we are called to do for the world, our families, whatever it is for you specifically, you will have nothing to fear because you know that everything will work out. When you trust that the universe has your back, when you trust that following the call of your soul and your intuition, your gut, all of that, everything is going to work out as it's meant to be. Rethink the way that you have been going about your life. Are you really helping by essentially lying to people to avoid the feelings of fear of abandonment, fear of being judged, the pain of being left behind, feeling attacked? All of those things, they're temporary. And if they're not, then those people or situations are not meant to be in the path moving forward. So you're really going to be getting honest with yourself and your situation. But as this justice card is sitting in reverse here, eventually the balances are going to come into equilibrium. You're not going to have these underlying anxieties as you go about your days and in every conversation. And imagine that sense of freedom. Imagine, just as this wise owl is sitting and we see these synchronicities with these two pink moons, this is love. This is love. This is the light. And this is what you are going to be stepping into in your future. Now, when you can hold on to that idea and that belief and that hope, that by speaking your truth to yourself and to others, you will be inviting in more of that love and light and peace and rest and a sense of direction that feels right for you. Hello, pile two. Your card is arrow. Surround yourself with protective energy. And it's like this arrow is pointing directly at this 11 or this house 11. This can be master number 11. And also the house that is ruled by Aquarius. For many of you who follow a lot of tarot, spirituality, astrology, you may know that Pluto, which is a huge generational shift, just moved out of Capricorn into Aquarius. So I am being drawn to use the Rider-Waite for you. Right, so let's see what energy you are coming in with as we prepare for 2025. Well, that's fun. Ace of Pentacles. Oh, the Knight of Cups and the Devil. This is an interesting mix, just as the first pile. So the Ace of Pentacles, this could actually be a new job, a new promotion, a bonus, an offering. This could just be a new money-making idea, something that has to do with, or this could even be actually a new residence, a new home. The Pentacles can not only deal with finances and money, but it can also be our stability, our home. So we have this Knight of Cups coming in as supportive energy. So this could almost be like it was something that took a little bit of time to come. But it inevitably did come. And then we have it paired with this devil, which is really interesting. And so This is a major arcana, so this is going to be something that is more significant within your life themes. Um, Surrounding yourself with protective energy. Okay, so this is going to vary based on your personal situation, whether, this is something more financial or a new job, or housing. So with this double energy, I'm almost getting that with this new thing, you may be enticed in some way to revert back to old ways or old habits, things that aren't really serving you, right? It feels like you're kind of in this transitionary period where it's releasing the old and then inviting in the new. But then in some ways, there may be these vices that you have that kind of try to bring you back into those old habits, that were not the things that helped you to get to here, right? So it can be like there was this slow moving energy, and it could have been that even though this was always on its way, there were certain things that you needed to work on, work through, process, and that is what kind of helped you get towards this. And so surrounding yourself with protective energy, this could also be that there's a lot of heaviness within the world. There's a lot of fear, there's a lot of doubt, and there's all these things that may also impact you and the clarity that you have with getting in touch with your emotions and your feelings, and not being tempted by some of these things here. And so this could be what this protective energy is. Let's get a little bit more information on what these vices might be to look out for. Interesting. We got the Page of Wands and the Two of Wands. So this could potentially have to do with proceeding forward with certain ideas or certain passions, or deciding to proceed forward with something new. The Page of Wands can be this new energy, but they can also be a little bit more like new as in inexperienced, something that you're kind of testing the waters on. And with this Two of Wands in the reverse, I'm also seeing like this mirror happening here, with this wand here, and then this person kind of looking up, but they're holding a world here, or like a globe in their hand. But the nature of the Two of Wands, I'm getting this sense of like looking to the past again. So kind of like how we were talking about these like habits and things that you may be tempted by. It's almost like you may have your judgment a little bit clouded sometimes. And with this 11 and this master number, it's like this Two of Wands can be like you're stepping through to that next journey, the next stepping through the portal, so to speak, or going on to that next adventure, but then being clouded in that judgment. So there is this need to surround yourself with protective energy, to help protect from these illusions or these things that may look like they are great opportunities or the right direction, but in fact, there is something else there that is clouding the judgment, rose-colored glasses, or these past patterns, these past habits that can again make you feel like you're moving forward, but then at the same time, you're kind of bringing these things along with you. I'm kind of envisioning, cans on the back of a car, and that they're just kind of clanking along. So even though this person's going forward, they're like bringing all this stuff behind them, and it's making a bunch of noise in the background. And if, let's just say, somebody has like loud music on, or they don't hear as well, they're not going to necessarily see those cans in the back mirror or anything. They would maybe hear it, but they wouldn't necessarily know it's even coming from their car, or that they're the ones, making the sound or bringing the cans along. So there's just like this idea of an illusion and not really being entirely sure, what is real. Okay, so let's get some advice before we close this one out. Okay. So advice, we got the Six of Wands in the reverse, and we have the Four of Pentacles. So this is actually giving me the sense that it's funny how sometimes the story kind of makes more sense as we get more information. So I feel like some of the things that are clouding the judgment are going to be external validation. And this could be in relation to literally other people's praise. It could be being put into the spotlight. It could, perceive certain things as so-called winning, when it's actually something else. So I will give you an example. So let's just say that this Ace of Pentacles is like you won a little lottery or you won some money. And then because of that, there's all these people parading around you, like, oh, you won the thing. And so you're feeling like really good about yourself. And then people are being extra nice to you. And so you're like feeling really good. But when you kind of take a step back, you realize that that validation is a little bit hollow, right? That you are feeling really good about yourself because of the praise that people are giving you or the attention they're giving you because of this thing that came in. And so when you're making certain decisions, it may kind of get you into this really generous mood where now these people around you, you're like, oh, I'm going to buy drinks for everybody here, or, lunch is on me. And then all of a sudden, you're kind of going into these past patterns where maybe you were an overgiver. Maybe you would give too much and you didn't have moderation, right? Perhaps you are recognized for something and go viral on social media or something like that. And so you're getting all this attention and everything. And then all of a sudden you find yourself obsessing about, how many followers you have or the comments that people are leaving. And, now you're just like getting all of this attention that it's feeling this void inside of you when you're actually lonely, right? So those are a couple of examples of how that can play out in terms of like you're moving forward and you can take those winnings and you can, buy yourself that thing that you've been waiting for a month to be able to save towards, or that thing that felt like it was extravagant or something that you really didn't need. So you kind of kept yourself from it and now you have the funds to do it. But then you go and you overgive, and now money is a little bit tight again, and you don't have as much as you would have. And so that could be like this devil kind of having this chain on you where you have this opportunity to go into a direction that you've been needing to go towards for, your healing or your self-growth and things like that. But then there's these little tiny things that give you the illusion that you're moving forward, but when actually it's kind of something else. And what we see with this Four of Pentacles, this idea of overgiving feels like it's going to be more significant given just the energy of this card and like holding things really tight and that sense of security. And so in some ways, because this is showing up as advice, it's like be careful of the attention from other people or this external validation that you may receive when things come towards you. Like, be a little bit more frugal, be a little bit more discerning with, your security, your finances, your job, your ideas, things that can bring you this sense of stability. Don't let yourself get just overly clouded by all this external stuff that is not going to get you where you want to be quite as fast, and it may throw in some more lessons and challenges for you before you can finally get there, right? So this Page of Wands coming back in is like, you're kind of new, you're a novice at this, you're not really used to navigating this new spotlight or attention or this money or being more responsible or whatever that is. And so you have a little bit to learn before you kind of get towards that king and queen energy. The page is, the first step in the four court cards of page, knight, queen, and king. And so you're working your way towards that. You're building that muscle and you're practicing. And then you're also surrounding yourself with protective energy so that you can discern between the energies of what is other people's expectations or, what you feel obligated to. Maybe you're a former people pleaser, for example. And so you just may have these certain tendencies that aren't really serving you moving forward. And so it's just reminding you to be a little bit more discerning, be a little bit tighter with these things that you would give so freely before, because it would give you this illusion of this Six of Wands, that is just giving you this illusion of proceeding forward. So don't worry, it will get easier. You're just starting that journey. And in 2025, I feel like because you got this 11, I'm being more drawn towards it being a master number rather than the house number of 11. And so this really feels like this is the start of the path to your purpose and what you're meant to do in your life. And these are some of the main lessons that 2025 is going to help you work through in order to get to where you want to be and, where your soul is calling you towards. So let's get you a universe has your back. Oh, you got a couple of them. And I love the synchronicities and the colors. So the first one is thank you, universe, for helping me see beyond the limits of fear. Thank you for expanding my perception so that I can see what is of the highest good. Yes, so the fear, what might you lose without this attention and this external validation? How are you exposed by not doing these things that you've been doing all this time with? And I'm really getting the energy of overgiving, so I'm just going to say overgiving is your thing that you've been working on. And so what is that overgiving? What fear is that masking, right? Are you feeling like you're going to be alone if you don't give? People are not going to find any value in you. You're going to be useless to them. What are you fearful of? So thanking the universe for helping you see beyond the limits of your fear and expanding your perception so you can see what is of the highest good, not just for others, but also for yourself. And here, I'm unapologetic about what I desire and trust that what I focus on will grow. So we have that master number 11. You will get to where you want to be. And you, as you are unapologetic about what you desire. So, for example, not overgiving. Now you have more time to achieve that thing or go on that vacation. You have more funds to get the thing that you've been desiring or to pay for that vacation, right? What are the things that you can be unapologetic about that you were previously overgiving and now you have more resources and you can trust that what you focus on will grow. So that includes yourself. When you focus on yourself, your needs, your self-care, you as a person will grow and everything around you will also be able to grow alongside you. So thank you, Pile 2, and happy 2025. Hello, Pile 3. The card you chose, ooh, the Heart Guardian. Love and let yourself be loved with Jupiter. So Jupiter is definitely the planet of expansion and good luck. And oh, as you are inviting in more love, you are going to just be feeling so good, so supported. Um, yeah. So I am going to use the Light Seers Tarot for you. I'm almost feeling like each of these piles is actually a story of starting off in the first pile, moving into the second, and then to the third. So that's going to be really interesting. And I might add that to the intro actually. But now that I'm on the third pile, it really feels like these were meant to be a story. So if you were drawn to the other two piles, maybe you just listen to this whole thing as one full reading. So we are going to get your energy that you're bringing into 2025. Okay, so we are starting off with the Page of Cups in the reverse, and we have the World card, the Major Arcana in the reverse as the supporting energy. So I am not reading these in the reverse as stuck necessarily, but I feel more strong that this is a reading about this internal journey that you're going on. Love and let yourself be loved. The way that this figure or this angel or this guardian is um it's very much about the internal self. And with this Page of Cups, it's a very much so about like this dreaming. It feels like there's something new and you're opening up to the world. And we see this sacred geometry here, and this person has a very colorful outfit, and then there's just this light emanating, and we get this circle that feels almost like things are coming full circle, and you are at the heart of it. So I'm really loving this one. I feel like with Jupiter, this is like that expansive energy. So that love is just growing. And so you are giving love and you are equally receiving love. Get more about what you may be experiencing in 2025. So we got another major arcana. So the Death and Rebirth card, supported by the King of Swords. So with this energy being so strong in this love energy, it feels like this is coming as a result of some really difficult times, but it feels like 2025, it feels like you've kind of already worked through a lot of the things that were really heavy before. A lot of the pains and the challenges and the difficulties. It feels like you're not necessarily stepping into that into 2025, but it almost feels like this journey has already begun. This transformation has already begun, and you're kind of in that rebirth process. With the King of Swords coming out here, we got these birds, we got an owl in the corner. It's I'm getting this energy of like taking back charge of your life. So I'm not sure if that means for some of you what was healed was a situation where things were just out of control. It feels like things were falling apart and that you're finally getting back into this position where you're at the top of the mountain. And now you can look back at all of these things that have happened throughout your lifetime. It's going to vary the period of time based on your situation because this is a collective reading. But for some of you, this could have been a year, but I'm feeling like it's a lot longer than that, like a lifetime or a decade of these things that you're now looking back on. But again, you're at the top of this mountain, so you have this fuller vision, and the owl can be a symbol of wisdom as well as the crow and being very intelligent. We see these spread wings, so it's almost like this sense of freedom, but also that idea of like the eagle soaring and getting that bird's eye view. So it's like you're bringing all of these things together, and that death of the old self is allowing for this rebirth of this new perspective and to come with this light and this love because the healing has happened. So it's not necessarily a masculine, controlling, forceful type of control, but it's more like you're finally feeling like your head is above and that you can see things for what they are and what they were so that you can proceed forward with that wisdom. Let's get some advice here. This one feels honestly very straightforward compared to the other ones. I feel like maybe you've already kind of been on this healing journey. You're already a little bit further along, maybe than some of those who were more attracted to the earlier piles. Yeah, so you felt very trapped before. We have the Eight of Swords in the reverse and then the Nine of Cups as the supporting energy. So it's like these cords have finally been cut, but it's an illusion. This person is looking into a mirror, and the mirror and the reflection is we see these black crows coming again, that these were once challenges and things that felt restrictive, things that, you felt like you had no choice, you didn't know where to go, you were being forced into certain situations, you were a victim of circumstance and all the above. And through that healing journey, you are now coming into this abundance with the Nine of Cups, this sense of freedom. It's almost like everything is finally coming together. What I find so interesting is that it's almost like this light burst is like the sun, but it also feels like we're either above or below the water, and this person is floating or they can be jumping. And then there's a treasure chest, so we can be at the bottom of the water, but then there's so much light, right? That there's just this burst of freedom. Even when you may have felt like you sank to the bottom of the ocean, you were eventually able to find your way, and you were able to find those treasures that were hidden within. So I feel like there was a lot of healing that you've been doing. And this seems more like a confirmation that as you move into 2025, you're going to start reaping the rewards of all this work that you've done. And so, because you've been able to bring light to all of these shadows, this is going to allow you to open up and expand with this Jupiter energy, this dreaming, this feeling one with the universe, this intuition. And also this deck I'm usually drawn to with more of my spiritual healer, light worker folks, those who are in touch with their intuition. And so I don't think it's a coincidence at all that we're getting this message for you. And so with all of this energy and all this work that you have done, which I'm also seeing this synchronicity stand out really strong with this kind of red cloak in both of these cards, this is going to allow you to love more. And this is going to allow you to receive love more. So love and let yourself be loved by the universe, by yourself, by the animals, by people, by everything, by life. We also see, and I'll show you because it's a little small, but we have this kind of rainbow color at the top. We have a pig flying in the corner, and these two hands are forming hearts, and it's a little colored heart in the middle here. So it's like we also see this bursting open, this opening up. So a lot of this energy that we're seeing, it's all like this opening with this world card being at the top of this open mountain, this person just floating and jumping and being free, and these light bursts, this death and rebirth, where in the center we're seeing another burst of light amongst the darkness or the shadows, this open ocean where we also see what looks like clouds at the bottom when they should be at the top. So it's like everything is coming together, and 2025 it feels like you're really going to start to understand what freedom is and what it feels like. And that love and that passion and that light, that freedom and that joy is coming out so strong. So, congratulations is what I really want to say, that, the work that you did is going to pay off for you, and you are going to reap the rewards of that in 2025 and beyond. So let's pull you a final card with the universe has your back. My outer experiences are a reflection of my internal condition. How on point is that? We started off saying that this was very much about an internal journey, and you're going to reap the rewards of all the work that you've done. Uh, and this is going to be this Nine of Cups, right? This is going to be the reflection of all the work that you've done, all the inherent value that you now recognize within yourself, all of the abundance you recognize within your life, all of the freedom that you have. This is more confirmation. So if you came here seeking confirmation, this is it. So again, like happy 2025 for you, and I'm so excited for you, and excited to see what else is to come.